Mahmood. I'm the Vice Chair of Havering Islamic Culture Centre, and we are continuing our new series of special live lectures on prominent pious people and prophets in the Quran. Today we are covering the detailed Islamic story of the next prophet in the timeline according to the Quran and Hadiths. I am also a student of the Tajweed still. I will recite a verse of the Quran that is relevant to all the prophet stories we have covered so far. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما يأتيهم من نبي إلا كانوا به يستهزئون. The nearest meaning for that is, but no prophet ever came to them without being mocked. This is Quran chapter 43 verse 7, Surah Az-Zaruf, which means ornaments of gold. There are so many ayahs in the Quran which will refer to prophets being mocked, ridiculed, discredited, slandered and laughed at, and even attempts on their lives being made. They are often accused of sorcery, lying, being insane, trying to gain leadership, and hence plotted against them to kill them. Prophet Saleh experienced all of these. There are so many historical cases where those who have mocked the prophets were destroyed. We will be learning morals about this and how we can apply these to our daily lives in the lectures today. The thing I've noticed is prophets, prophets, people and their destruction. It seems to follow three things I've noticed, and different methods are used by Allah. Now today we have Ustada Sidra name, who is a teacher and alima qualifying from the Al-Huda International College. Her earliest childhood memories of learning about Islam are hearing prophet stories as a child. She has studied stories in the Quran and Hadiths in detail, including comparative religion from the Torah and Bible. This makes her qualified to speak about this important story. And I have to now keep quiet and invite Sister.
Well, thank you very much everybody for coming. I'm really pleased actually to see some of my old students here who, I taught when they were really, really young, especially Mikhail was a tiny little dot, wasn't he, when he first started coming to the mosque. And it's really lovely, that people are still coming and keeping the interest. And also two sisters here all the way from Ipswich who definitely deserve, a salute really, coming all that way, and in Ramadan as well. Did you know that when you come in Ramadan to an Islamic lecture, it's like coming to 70 to 700 times. And everything you will learn today, the knowledge is multiplied as well, because it's Ramadan, very holy month. So, people say, oh, we're fasting, we can't go anywhere. It's more ajr, more blessings when you go to do something Islamic in Ramadan. Okay, so you've done really well today in coming here. Okay, so let's look at our timeline now. So these are all the prophets we have covered so far. We've already done Adam al-Islam. Then from Adam we said that Seth came, his son. Qabil murdered Habil. So then Qabil could not be the next prophet. He was a criminal. So Adam made the third prophet Seth then. The third son, Seth. And we said that 5 generations later the world started to get corrupted, and then Idris came along. We covered him as well. Idris, we said, started very lightly telling people Islamic quotes and things. And with the Islamic quotes is when people were trying to get them back onto Islam again. And then 10 generations later, people totally got corrupted, and they started worshipping idols, big time, okay? And that is when the very first big messenger came. The first one, you can remember who it was? Yes?
Noah.
Good, well done. Nuh alayhi salam was the first major messenger. Okay? We are going to come up to the next time when we do the next one where the next messenger is due. You will know why in a minute. Okay? And then we said that after Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, after 4 generations later, last time we covered Prophet Hud. Okay? Alayhi salam, who is Eber in the Bible. And then Allah got rid of all of them. Do you remember there was that horrible calamity? Can anybody remember how Allah got rid of that nation? Tornado. Good, well done. Big tornado, got rid of all of them. With Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, it was a flood. Okay, so it's a flood. I want you to remember these because it's going to change. Flood, tornado. Okay? Now, it hasn't been long, only 4 generations later. Yes?
How did the Idris people get destroyed?
They were fine. They started listening to his quotes, and then it was by this time they started then worshipping their grandparents. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Their ancestors. Okay, 4 generations later, it's not been long. 4 generations is what? Your great-granddad, who is alive to tell the story of prophethood. That this is what happened, prophethood's people, they had big houses, they worshipped lots of gods, and Allah destroyed them. So the forefathers told their children all of this story. Okay? And 4 generations later, bad starts happening on the land again. Okay? And Allah sends another Arab prophet. Okay? Now we have already spoken about this, but people always say, please can you recap in case there's new people in the audience. So we said that Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, in his days, after the flood, it was only from his progeny that the next nation came, and it was actually from Shem that Arabs came. Okay? So Prophet Hud was an Arab, and the next prophet that we're going to talk about is also an Arab. Okay? So who can name the 4 prophets who were Arabs? And yes, I do have a medal to give away. We have got some people's beady eyes on them already. Who were the 4 prophets who were Arabs?
Ibrahim.
No.
Muhammad.
Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you don't know that, you might as well pack your bags and go home, everybody. Come on. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Who were the other 3? Who did we talk about last time? Hud. Good. Any more?
Prophet Suleiman.
No. No. Good. We're getting there. You're listening. One more. Okay, I'll tell you the answer. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Shuaib, who we will cover later on because he's near Moses' time. Prophet Saleh alayhi salam, and Prophet Hud, who we have already covered. Okay? Now, again, Prophet Saleh is not mentioned in the Bible or the Torah. Why not?
Because he was an Arab.
Yes, and?
And he things related to Arab prophets.
That's the clue. He was an Arab. Why is he not in the Bible and the Torah?
Because he wasn't white, that's why.
Right. Did anything happen in the Bible and the Torah?
He was taken out of the Bible.
He was taken out of the Bible. Why? Because he was Arab. Okay? We did this last time when we did Prophet Hud. He was taken out of the Bible and the Torah because obviously the Jews, they wanted their name to be at the top. They don't want the Arabs to be the chosen nation. So all the Arab prophets were taken out. Okay? How do we know this though? Does anybody know this? It's actually in the Quran. And particularly in terms of Prophet Saleh. Okay. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam in the Quran actually tells people and mentions Prophet Hud and Prophet Saleh. Okay, so let's have a listen.
ألم يأتكم نبأ الذين من قبلكم قوم نوح وعاد وثمود والذين من بعدهم لا يعلمهم إلا رسلهم بالبينات فردوا أيديهم في أفواههم وقالوا إنا كفرنا بما أرسلتم به وإنا لفي شك مما تدعوننا إليه مريب.
Okay, so this is Ibrahim alayhi salam. Okay, he said to his people, have you not already received the stories of those who were before you, the people of Noah, Ad, which is to do with Hud, isn't it? We spoke about it last time. Thamud, which is to do with Saleh, which we'll hear about in a minute, and those after them. Only Allah knows how many they were. Their messengers came to them with clear proofs, but they put their hands over their mouths and said, we totally reject what you have been sent with, and we are certainly in alarming doubt about what you are inviting us to. That's in Surah Ibrahim. Okay, verse 9. So he said it, which means it must have been in the previous books. There's your clue. Okay? Also, did you know that when the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, in there were those 4 Arab prophets? I have got a video about that, but I didn't think it would be worth me putting that up because it's not really that relevant.
So
but believe me.
How come Christians don't mention it? That's
I already said to you, they have disregarded the Dead Sea Scrolls because in it also was written that another prophet will come called Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The whole world would have become Muslim. So they disregard the Dead Sea Scrolls. But the Dead Sea Scrolls are the closest you can get actually to Islam because they're the most original book you can get. Okay? And in it, those 4 Arab prophets were mentioned. Okay? Then, what do you think Allah has to do now when the Quran comes down about that story that's missing in the previous books?
He mentions it.
Right, in great detail?
I believe so.
Yes, because it's not in any of the previous books. So Allah put it in the Quran in great, great detail. Right down to the conversations the Prophet has with his people. Okay? And it was even mentioned in the Quran, Allah said to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we're revealing a new story to you. We are revealing new stories to you that have been taken out of previous books. Let's look at that, what it says.
ولقد أرسلنا رسلا من قبلك منهم من قصصنا عليك ومنهم من لم نقصص عليك وما كان لرسول أن يأتي بآية إلا بإذن الله فإذا جاء أمر الله قضي بالحق وخسر هنالك المبطلون.
And indeed we have sent messengers before you, O Muhammad. Of some of them we have related to you their story, and of some we have not related to you their story. And it was not given to any messenger that he should bring a sign except by the leave of God. Okay, that's in Surah Ghafir. So that is, for the first time, then it was revealed properly, fully. Okay, so now let's get on to the story now, but I needed to give you that background, that history you do need to know. In case somebody says, well, we don't believe in Prophet Saleh because it wasn't in the previous books. Okay, we need to know that history. Right, let's have a look. So, Saleh came from the Hijaz area of Arabia. Okay? How do we know this? Does anybody know? No? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was traveling to the Battle of Tabuk, he passed Hijaz and he said to everybody to look away, don't even look that way. He said, it's a horrible area because a big affliction took place there and you're going to catch it. And that hadith I will do right at the end. Okay? This is how we know that this is the exact area where that took place. And also, Fasila, you told me a really good answer last time. Why is the exact place mentioned? What happened with Prophet Hud? What did they find afterwards?
He found the skeleton.
They found evidence. Okay? And yes, evidence of whatever's going to happen will be found in Hijaz later on, and it won't be skeletons this time. Okay? Right, let's carry on. Now, after the destruction of Ad, which was the nation before from prophethood, Thamud succeeded them in power and grandeur. They had the genetics of Hud, so they were big and strong, and they used their hands to make houses out of stone this time. So the previous nation made houses out of sandstone. This lot made houses out of the stone of the mountains. They led wealthy, excessive lives. They built grand buildings, both on the plains and carved into the hills, all made from stone. Okay? And Allah had given them so much. Fertile land, abundant agriculture, lots and lots of food. And the people themselves were tall and strong and well built because they were eating all of this beautiful food. Okay, so they were big and strong, just like their ancestors were. Okay, it was the same ancestors coming down the line, and they were big and strong. Okay, did they need anything? They've got big houses, they've got money, they're big and strong, they've got the health, they've got the vegetables, they've got the fruit. Do they need anything? No. What do you think they're going to start doing?
Worshipping statues.
Good, well done, you got it. They're start worshipping statues. Okay, unfortunately with their extravagant lifestyles came idol worship and wickedness. Tyranny and oppression became prevalent as evil men ruled the land. Remember, the evilest ones are the ones who then get all the gangs behind them, and then they always lead, aren't they? All leaders on the whole. Look at Bush, look at Blair, look at Trump. Look at Hitler, okay? It's always the case. So they were oppressive in the land, there was tyranny prevalent in the land, and they don't need Allah, so you know what? They're going to start worshipping idols. And were they grateful for all the food they had? No. So, is it time for a prophet to come? Yeah. So, who was the prophet of the tribe of Thamud? I'm asking questions because the winning person will get a medal. Saleh. Okay, so, Prophet Saleh was sent. He was from the famous tribe Thamud, which was named after their forefather Thamud. The forefather was called Thamud, and that's where the tribe came from. Okay?
وإلى ثمود أخاهم صالحا.
To the Thamud people we sent Saleh, one of their own brethren. That's Surah Al-Araf 773. What do we mean by own brethren?
Relation.
Yes, from their own tribe. Every time. Do you remember Ad? And Hud was from that tribe of Ad. Okay? So Allah sent them from their own brethren so they can listen to him. And did you know he was really well respected? He was pious, and everyone really respected him. So Allah thought, you know what, they'll listen to him, won't they? You listen to respected people, don't you? He was of Arab origin, and he came obviously after Ad. And the people of Thamud had not taken any lesson from their predecessors at all. So let's see the conversations, the exact conversations that Saleh has with his people.
واذكروا إذ جعلهم خلفاء من بعد عاد وبوأكم في الأرض تتخذون من سهولها قصورا وتنحتون الجبال بيوتا فاذكروا آلاء الله ولا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين.
Remember when he made you successors after Ad and established you in the land, and you built palaces on its plains and carved homes into mountains. So remember Allah's favors, he said, and don't go back spreading corruption in the land. Al-Araf, chapter 7, verse 74. Do you think they're going to like that? Who the hell's he telling us what to do? Okay, more conversations.
وثمود أخاهم صالحا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره هو أنشأكم من الأرض واستعمركم فيها فاستغفروه ثم توبوا إليه إن ربي قريب مجيب.
And to the people of Thamud we sent their brother Saleh. He said, "O my people, worship Allah. You have no God other than Him. He is the one who produced you from the earth and settled you on it. So seek His forgiveness and turn to Him in repentance. Surely my Lord is ever near, all responsive to prayers." Surah Hud, chapter 11, verse 61. Okay, so why it's in Surah Hud, this story, some of it is that they were the next nation, and Allah's trying to compare the two qawms. Qawm is nation, isn't it? It's trying to compare them. Okay, so some people believed in Him, the pious ones who were oppressed and poor, and the rich ones that didn't bother believing in Him. Okay? And they laughed at Him.
قالوا يا صالح قد كنت فينا مرجوا قبل هذا أتنهانا أن نعبد ما يعبد آباؤنا وإننا لفي شك مما تدعونا إليه مريب.
Oh Saleh, you have been among us a figure of good hope. Because remember, he had wisdom and purity and goodness, and he was really respected amongst the community. And they said that as soon as you started to preach to us about this so-called God of yours, we've lost respect for you, basically. Okay? So, oh Saleh, you've been among us a figure of good hope, and we wished for you to be our chief. We were going to make you our chief to this new thing which you have brought, that we leave our gods and worship your God alone. Do you now forbid us the worship of what our fathers have worshipped? And we are really in grave doubt as to that, which you invite us to monotheism. That's Surah Hud, chapter 11, verse 62. So they just wanted to carry on worshipping the same gods that their fathers had worshipped, with no reason, no proof, no thought. And it does say in the Quran, in many, many places, do not follow the religion of your forefathers. Does it not say that? It always says, think the religion for yourself. This happens a lot in our community, doesn't it? We just parrot fashion follow on whatever our grandparents have said, but have we looked into it? Have we even realized that some of our great-grandparents may be illiterate, or they've never read the Quran in English or in our mother tongue, so they don't even know what's in it? So it is really up to us to see what is actually in it. So they doubted his words, thinking he was charmed. What do we mean by that? Charmed. Possessed. Or he's got, possessed by a jinn or something like that. Okay, we do know jinns do exist as well. Right, the conversations carry on. Here he is, always outside their houses, telling them the next thing to do because he's trying and trying really hard.
قال يا قوم أرأيتم إن كنت على بينة من ربي وآتاني منه رحمة فمن ينصرني من الله إن عصيته فما تزيدونني غير تخسير.
He responded, "Oh my people, consider if I stand on a clear proof from my Lord, and He has blessed me with a mercy from Him. Who would help me against Allah if I were to disobey Him? You would only contribute to my doom." Surah Hud 11:63. So basically he's trying to say, well, what have you got to lose? Even if you believe in Him, you're not going to lose anything, are you? Yeah? And why, I would be doomed as well, kind of thing. Okay? So basically they just thought he was crazy. So all the things, brother, that you were mentioning before, insane, all the things that you said, possessed, then they are all in this story, all of them. Okay? So here we go again. They laugh at him, mock him. Here is the ayah that you said earlier, which I'm not going to repeat. And let's listen to the next conversation.
كذبت ثمود مما قالوا أبشرا منا واحدا نتبعه إنا إذا لفي ضلال وسعر ألقي الذكر عليه من بيننا بل هو كذاب أشر سيعلمون غدا من الكذاب الأشر.
Thamud rejected the warnings, arguing, how can we follow one average human being from among us? So they used that. They said, well, you're just one of us. You know, you're not a prophet. We would then truly be misguided and insane. Has the revelation been sent down only to him out of all of us? Basically, they're arrogant. I'm better than you, so why did God send me the revelation? Why did they send it to you? In fact, he's a boastful liar. It was revealed to Saleh, they will soon know who the boastful liar is. That's in Surah Qamar. So basically they're mocking him, but Allah is strengthening the Prophet and saying, don't worry about it. They're the ones that are going to find out who are the boastful liars. Okay? The other thing that they did was they thought he was a bad omen. And every time something bad happened, like maybe one of their cattle died, they would accuse him and blame him. Okay? And they thought that he was a bad omen to them and everything bad was going on. Okay? Right. So, now the chiefs are getting really, really worried, so they demand a meeting with him. Okay? So they take him to a rock area, which is where they worship their god. Okay? And there, they decide to have a meeting with him, and they said, right, if you're a prophet, show us a sign. Okay? So let us look at that conversation.
ما أنت إلا بشر مثلنا فأت بآية إن كنت من الصادقين.
You are only a human being like us, so bring forth a sign if what you say is true. Ashura. Okay? So, the people of Thamud gathered there in the shadows of the mountain, and they addressed him. And they said that we don't believe you, and if you are a prophet, then show us a sign. Okay? They pointed to the rock, and they took a mockery out of him. They said, you know what you need to do if you are a prophet? You've got to go out of that rock, you've got to produce a she-camel, which is 10 meters long. So this is a mockery. 10 meters long. Not only that, she has to be 10 months pregnant as well. Okay? And it has to be a she-camel. Okay? And they made it really hard, deliberately, to show up Saleh that he's a liar. So they can accuse him afterwards that he's a big fat liar. Okay? This is why they made it really difficult. And Saleh said, okay, if Allah sends you what you have asked, will you then believe in him? They said, yes, we will believe in him if that is what will happen. So they took the vow. Okay? So, thinking it's not going to happen. Do you think they thought it wasn't going to happen? Yes? What do you think Saleh's going to do now?
Act on it.
Pardon?
Act on it. Produce a she-camel.
How? He's a man.
Pray to Allah.
Pray to Allah. Good, you're listening really well. I've got a feeling I know who's going to get the medal today. Right. He prayed to Allah. Allah, please keep my respect. Please keep my respect and please do as, what they have asked. Please. So let's listen.
إنا مرسل الناقة فتنة لهم فارتقبهم واصطبر ونبئهم أن الماء قسمة بينهم كل شرب محتضر.
We are sending the she-camel as a test for them. This is Allah speaking. Okay? You look surprised. We are sending the she-camel as a test for them. So watch them closely, he says to Saleh, and have patience, and tell them that the drinking water must be divided between them and her, each taking a turn to drink every other day. That's in Al-Qamar, straight from the Quran. Nobody can argue. Chapter 54, verses 27 to 28. Okay? So the next day, there was a big bang in the land. And out of the same rock which they used to worship came out a giant she-camel by the grace of Allah. It was enormous, 10 meters long, and it was 10 months pregnant, and it was a she-camel. And some of the people, they could not believe it. They were overwhelmed with magnitude and thought, wow, that's a miracle. They saw great and dazzling sight amongst them. Okay? And some of them, oh well, we did say that Prophet Saleh is a magician after all, and he's just done another one of his magics. And they kept their hardened, and they were stubborn. Okay?
وما منعنا أن نرسل بالآيات إلا أن كذب بها الأولون وآتينا ثمود الناقة مبصرة فظلموا بها وما نرسل بالآيات إلا تخويفا.
Nothing keeps us from sending the demanded signs. This is Allah speaking, that He has sent the demanded signs. Nothing keeps us from sending the demanded signs except that they had already been denied by earlier peoples. And we gave Thamud the she-camel as a clear sign, but they wrongfully rejected it. We only send the signs as a warning. Okay? So it's a warning and a test. Are they going to believe in Allah now? Okay, Al-Isra 1759. But half the people, more than half the people said, well, you know what, he's just a magician. So with his magic, he brought it forward. Okay? And Thamud rejected the truth out of arrogance. Okay?
كذبت ثمود بطغواها ولقد كذب أصحاب الحجر المرسلين وآتيناهم آياتنا فكانوا عنها معرضين.
Verily, the dwellers of Al-Hijr, the rocky tract, that's what Hijr means, denied the messengers. We gave them as signs, but they were averse to them. Okay, and that's Al-Hijr 1580 to 81. Okay, now, that camel was blessings because, did you know, it produced enough milk sufficient for the whole tribe, which was over 1,000 people. And it fed them milk every day. Beautiful, fresh, creamy milk, all organic. And the people were still not grateful. Okay? And did you know that camel just kept herself to herself? She stayed away from all the other cattle, and she quietly just carried on with her own business, yet gave them all that milk. Okay? And then within a week, her baby was born. Remember, she was 10 months pregnant? So her baby was born, and her baby then needed her milk. So, what do you think Thamud are going to now start saying? The baby is drinking the milk of the camel now. She's got to feed her little baby.
The camel's useless.
No. She was feeding 1,000 tribes, 1,000 people in the tribe. Now her baby's come and now she's feeding the baby. What are they going to complain about?
You're not getting milk.
We're not getting enough milk. Now she's feeding 999 people and one of them's going without milk. Even though they didn't even have milk before. So they started complaining and they started taking their anger on the camel. And they started complaining as well that the camel is drinking all their water. Okay? All of the water in the trough the camel is drinking because it's so big. So let's have a look at what happens next.
قال هذه ناقة لها شرب ولكم شرب يوم معلوم ولا تمسوها بسوء فيأخذكم عذاب يوم عظيم.
So, and they also said that the other animals can't drink the water either because the she-camel was drinking all the water. So Saleh said exactly what Allah had revealed to him. Here's a camel. She will have her turn to drink as you have yours, each on an appointed day, and do not ever touch her with harm or you will be overtaken by the torment of a tremendous day. That's Surah Ashura, the poets. Okay, so every other day she would drink, and every other day the cattle would drink and the people would drink. Okay, nothing wrong with that, is there? Okay, but the message of Allah warned them, do not disturb Allah's camel and her turn to drink. What else do you think they're going to complain about now? They've complained they haven't got enough milk because the she-camel, baby camels come along. They've complained they haven't got enough water because the camel's drinking it all. But we've got over that problem of drinking every other day. What's the next one?
He's eating too much food.
Good, well done. Eating too much. And all our cattle can't eat. Okay? So, let us look at the next bit.
وإلى ثمود أخاهم صالحا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره قد جاءتكم بينة من ربكم هذه ناقة الله لكم آية فذروها تأكل في أرض الله ولا تمسوها بسوء فيأخذكم عذاب أليم.
And to the people of Thamud we sent their brother Saleh. Again and again he's going and guiding them. He said, "O my people, worship Allah. You have no other God except Him. A clear proof has come to you from your Lord. This is Allah's she-camel as a sign to you. So leave her to graze freely on Allah's land." He's explained this is Allah's land. So the camel can eat what she likes. And do not harm her, or else you will be overcome by a painful punishment. He's warning them now. Okay? Chapter 7, verse 73. And Saleh feared that they might kill the animal, which is why he mentioned that. And they also started complaining that, you know, all our lovely little cattle, they're scared of the camel. They're scared of her. So we don't really want her around. For a little while, they allowed the camel to graze freely, but after a little while, their hearts were hardened again. Okay? I like your, I really like your expressions. You're, which is really nice. I like that. Okay, so the disbelievers now are complaining about the camel, the water, the frightening of the cattle, the food all going, the baby camel drinking all the milk, one thing after the next. Okay? And what happens is there's a big split between the people. So there's the good ones who believe in Prophet Saleh, and there's the baddies who don't. Okay?
ولقد أرسلنا إلى ثمود أخاهم صالحا أن اعبدوا الله فإذا هم فريقان يختصمون.
And we certainly sent to the people of Thamud their brother Saleh, proclaiming worship Allah, but they suddenly split into two opposing groups. Okay, that's in An-Naml, the ants. Now what's going on there is quarreling starts within the tribe. Lots and lots of quarreling.
قال الملأ الذين استكبروا من قومه للذين استضعفوا لمن آمن منهم أتعلمون أن صالحا مرسل من ربه قالوا إنا بما أرسل به مؤمنون قال الذين استكبروا إنا بالذي آمنتم
arrogant chiefs of his people asked the lowly who believed among them, "Are you certain that Saleh has been sent by his Lord?" They replied, "We certainly believe in what he has been sent with." The arrogant said, "We surely reject what you believe in." So they're arguing over who believes in him and who doesn't. Okay? Right, the next bit is now the bad people, they start to plot to try and kill the she-camel, which is really, really bad. And it's really interesting on what actually happens. So let's listen to this. So Gidr was the chief of the Thamud tribe. He was born out of wedlock, and he was the wickedest out of all of them. And when they were arguing, he'd get really angry. Remember, angriness is a trait of the shaitan. So he got really angry, and everybody, they all fired him up, and he got really angry. On top of that, there were two ladies, bad ones, as well involved with this. So Anasa, who was a pagan, remember they were all pagans, so paganism is worship of lots of gods. Anasa was a pagan who offered her 4 daughters to whoever kills the camel. So when Gidr said, "I'm going to kill that camel," she took her 4 daughters to him and said, "Right, which one would you like? If you kill the camel." And you know what men are like, they're weak when it comes to women. So he goes, "Oh, that one looks nice, I think I'd like her." So Anasa said, "Right, if you kill that camel, you can have her. She can be your wife." So he got all excited up, okay? And then there was another evil woman. She was actually married to somebody already. It was Saduk. Her husband became a believer and she didn't like it. "Oh my God, he's become a believer. He's following that Saleh. I think I'm going to divorce him." So she divorced him and she fancied her cousin. So she went up to her cousin Masra and said, "If you kill that she-camel, I'll marry you." And she was really pretty, so he thought, "Oh, that would be nice." So there's 2 men already enticed by 2 women. And you know what men are like, they'll do anything for a nice woman, because that's where their weakness is, isn't it? Okay? So, very interesting. So, 2 of these men, they became strong. They thought, "Yeah, come on, let's kill that camel." And then they appealed to everybody else. Who else would like to come and help us kill that camel? Because 2 people alone can't do that. Okay? So, they made an appeal out in the land, and 7 more men then came forward. So there were 9 altogether. Okay? Very interesting picture this. I hope you're looking at the pictures, because that's their plot. Can you see? They're making a plot on who's going to hold it, who's going to kill it, who's going to do it. And it's all in the Quran. Can you believe it? So there's their plot, how they're going to do it. They're watching it. And they watched it drink water, and they would plot how they're going to do this. Okay? So let's look at the ayah. When the most wicked of them was aroused to kill the she-camel. So this is, we're talking about Gidr. The evilest one was the chief of the tribe, who was offered one of the 4 daughters from Unayza, who was a proper pagan, but they were all pagans. Okay?
وكان في المدينة 9 رهط يفسدون في الأرض ولا يصلحون.
And there were in the city 9 men from the sons of their chiefs who made mischief in the land and would not reform. That's in An-Naml, the ants, 27:48. Okay? So, they go up to the she-camel. This is 9 of them, sorry. And what happens is they watch it from the watering place, and Masra ambushed her and aimed his arrow, shooting her on the shin bone, basically disabling her. Okay? And that was so that the she-camel was hampered by an arrow. Listen to the next bit, okay? Gidr was thinking, shall I go and kill it or not? And the 2 ladies came forward and they took their niqabs off. Went in front of the men and enticed them, excited them. and their eyes went all big. And they thought, you know what, come on boys, let's do it. Honestly, this is in the Hadiths. So Khidr, he thought, right, I want to have her, right, let's go and kill that camel. So that's exactly what happened. And then the other 7 went forward and held it down. So it's all in the pictures. So hamstrung, is it hamstrung is the word?
Hamstrung.
Yeah, what is hamstrung?
They tied it upside down and hanged it.
Yeah, they didn't tie it upside down, but what they did was they aimed an arrow there. Okay, first, that was Nasra. Okay, he aimed the arrow there, which made it not run. And then Khidr, the big evil one, then went with this big knife and he went whoosh. There he is there. And all the others, they held it down. So all 9 of them were actually in there all together. Okay? And then all the ladies came forward and cut it all up to get meat out of it. Oh, we'll roast camel for dinner tonight. There's a lot of roast camel there for the whole tribe. So then they cut it all up. And the poor she-camel's baby was so frightened, and she ran away up on the peak of the mountain, and she howled 3 times. You know when someone dies, I don't know if anybody's heard a cat or a dog howl? I have. And they howl 3 times. She howled up there. She was upset. Her mum's just died. That was her mum who had been feeding her milk. Who's going to feed her milk now? Okay? Right, let's listen to the ayah.
فعقروها فقال تمتعوا في داركم 3 أيام ذلك وعد غير مكذوب.
But they killed her. So he warned them, you've only got 3 more days to enjoy life in your homes, he said. This is an unfailing promise. 3 more days. And that's it, he said. Okay? And they went away singing and dancing, playing instruments, the drum, and poetry.
فعقروا الناقة وعتوا عن أمر ربهم وقالوا يا صالح ائتنا بما تعدنا إن كنت من المرسلين.
So the killers were given a hero's welcome, and they cheered with songs and poetry. And they composed praise, which made those 9 even more arrogant. And Saleh warned them, you only got 3 more days. That's all you've got. That is it, he said. He was very angry. Then they killed the she-camel, defying their Lord's command. And you know what they said? Bring it on, they said. Okay? So, and challenge Saleh, bring us what you threaten us with if you are truly one of the messengers, Allah. So they thought, why not now? Why do we have to wait 3 days? Why not now? Bring it on, they said. Okay? Chapter 7, verse 77. So that is just really sad, isn't it? Really, really sad. So they were actually asking to bring it on now, if you're a prophet. Why do we have to wait 3 days? Tell me, why 3 days anyway? Why did the prophet say 3 days?
Is it because they could repent?
Good, excellent. Are they going to repent? They can repent in those 3 days and turn to Allah before it's too late. There's always a warning, isn't there? Okay, brilliant. You're doing really well, all of you. Okay, so let's listen now what happens next. What's he moaning about now, they all saying.
قال يا قوم لم تستعجلون بالسيئة قبل الحسنة لولا تستغفرون الله لعلكم ترحمون قالوا اطيرنا بك وبمن معك قال طائركم عند الله بل أنتم قوم تفتنون.
He urged the disbelieving group, "O my people, why do you seek to hasten the torment rather than grace?" He's saying, why are you hastening it? Why don't you just give in and believe in Allah? If only you sought Allah's forgiveness so you may be shown mercy. They replied, you and your followers are a bad omen for us. He responded, your omens are destined by Allah. In fact, you are only a people being tested. Okay? Chapter 27, verses 46 to 47. What do you think they're going to do now? What, brother, was the last thing you said in your list of all the things they were going to do?
They would try and kill him.
Good. They plotted to kill him. That's it. We killed the she-camel, which was huge. It's very easy killing the prophet, isn't it? We could do that very easily.
قالوا تقاسموا بالله لنبيتنه وأهله ثم لنقولن لوليه ما شهدنا مهلك أهله وإنا لصادقون ومكروا مكرا ومكرنا مكرا وهم لا يشعرون.
They said, swear to another by God that we shall make a secret night attack on him and his household, and afterwards we will surely say to his near relatives, we witness not the destruction of his household, and verily we are telling the truth. And so they made a plan. But we too made a plan, Allah said, while they were unaware. Okay, so they're plotting, but we're plotting too, Allah said. Okay, that ends. 27, 49, 50, unnumbered. Okay, so they may be plotting, but Allah is plotting as well, because Allah always saves most of the major prophets from death, doesn't he? He saved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was hid in the cave when the assassins were coming. He saved Ibrahim out of the fire. He saved Jesus when Jesus was then lifted up to Allah. Okay, how many prophets has he saved? So 3 days is all they've got. Okay, the next day was actually, we've even got the days here, so when it was the morning of Thursday, the first day of the 3 days, their faces went pale and yellow. Why did that happen?
You were scared?
So that they can repent to Allah. If your face turned yellow and you didn't know what disease you had, a little bit like, what is that, liver jaundice, that's it, jaundice. Would you not be worried?
Yeah.
Okay, so Allah turned their faces yellow so they could repent. And there was no medicine in those days. You couldn't go and get an X-ray or an MRI scan done, could you? So did that worry them? No. Oh, never mind. I'm golden coloured. Okay, when it was the second day, the Friday, their faces turned red. Okay, and that was the 2 days of the deadline had passed. Did they repent? No. When it was the third day, their faces turned black. Kala mu, basically. Some of you will know that's the Urdu word, but you might have it kala mu, basically. We say that to horrible people, don't we? She's got kala mu. In fact, do you know what? This is really interesting, but I actually do know people who are not that religious, and they're quite horrible, scheming and all the rest, toxic, and they do have black on their faces. Honestly, you're nodding your head because you've seen it as well. I've seen it in so many people. I know an imam who, the one who ran away with the money. That honestly, when we found out his face was just scarlet, black, the next day, he just looked like a shaitan. So you do see this in like toxic people who are evil, who have got no ounce of religion in them, and then you look at them and they've got like all these black marks on their faces. And it might be pigmentation marks or whatever, but it's still black. And just think, you know what, Allah's put their curse on you, kind of thing. But I have seen this in so many people, men and women as well. Anyway, so their faces turned black, okay? And the 3 days deadline had passed. And when it was Sunday, they perfumed themselves. And they sat down in readiness, waiting for the punishment, mocking Saleh, saying, well, where's the punishment then? Hello, I thought you said there was going to be a punishment. Anyway, in the meantime, Prophet Saleh takes all the believers. He's been asked by Allah to go in the nearest land, away from everything. So he gathers them all, he gives a khutbah, don't worry everybody, we're the chosen people, I'm going to take you away from all of this calamity. Okay?
فلما جاء أمرنا نجينا صالحا والذين آمنوا معه برحمة منا ومن خزي يومئذ إن ربك هو القوي العزيز.
When our command came, we saved Saleh and those who believed with him by a mercy from us, and spared them the disgrace of that day. Surely your Lord alone is the all-powerful. Surah Hud 11:66. Let's have a look now what happens next.
وكانوا ينحتون من الجبال بيوتا آمنين فأخذتهم الصيحة مصبحين فما أغنى عنهم ما كانوا يكسبون.
They carved out dwellings in the mountains and lived in security, but the blast overwhelmed them early in the morning, and all they achieved was of no help to them. Okay? That's chapter 15, verses 82 to 84. So, basically, Allah's saying they carved their mountains and dwelled in them to safeguard them, because did you know their previous houses were mud huts, before Allah gave them the skill of carving out mountains. So they thought they'd be safe, and Allah's saying, but what did they achieve? Even their houses could not save them. Okay? Right. What do you think happens first? Can you remember the Prophet Hud lecture? What actually happened first as a warning?
Rain.
No, you were not here, so it's best if you don't answer, because you came late, didn't you, that day? So I'm just telling you.
They were turned black.
Yeah, and then what happened? Yes, who said it? Yes, first there was a big thunderbolt, big one, a big electric one. That's what happened with Hud, didn't it? Yeah, electric bolt came first, big noise to wake everybody up. Okay, so here we go. Okay, let's listen to what happened. So after the sun rose, a mighty blast came from the sky. At the same time, that blast was so big that a big crack happened on the earth as well. Okay? And all the souls died, and every movement stopped therewith. And did you know that when that electric shock happened, everybody ended up bowing down to Allah, with themselves with the electric shock. They were squatting in their homes, you know, in that fetal position, doing the sajda. So Allah forced them, there you go, get on that floor, okay?
وأما ثمود فهديناهم فاستحبوا العمى على الهدى فأخذتهم صاعقة العذاب الهون بما كانوا يكسبون.
As for Thamud, we showed them guidance, but they preferred blindness over guidance. So the blast of a disgracing punishment overtook them for what they used to commit. Indeed, we sent against them only one mighty blast, leaving them like the twigs of fence builders. Why has Allah likened them to the twigs of fence builders? This is really interesting. What were they basically, these Thamud? What was their jobs?
Carvers.
They were builders, yes? But don't you find that so amazing, the way Allah has likened them to fence builders, the twigs of fence builders? I just found that absolutely fascinating. I was telling my husband yesterday, I found it really funny that Allah is likening them to the twigs of fence builders when they were builders. Yeah?
They're saying that they're very weak now. Twigs can break easily. So
Yes, so the fence they had built, they became the singular of that. It's got so many meanings. The full tribe was strong and now Allah separated them. So many different meanings you can get there. Okay? I think we've got one more ayah.
إنا أرسلنا عليهم صيحة واحدة فكانوا كهشيم المحتضر.
Okay, let's carry on. We're still on the lightning stage. Okay, and they were reduced to rubble.
وأخذ الذين ظلموا الصيحة فأصبحوا في ديارهم جاثمين كأن لم يغنوا فيها ألا إن ثمود كفروا ربهم ألا بعدا لثمود.
And the mighty blast overtook the wrongdoers, so they fell lifeless in their homes as if they had never lived there. Surely Thamud denied their Lord, so away with Thamud. Okay? Chapter 11, 67 to 68. So that's the end of the people.
فتولى عنهم وقال يا قوم لقد أبلغتكم رسالة ربي ونصحت لكم ولكن لا تحبون الناصحين.
So Prophet Saleh said, "O my people, I have indeed conveyed to you the message of my Lord and have given you good advice, but you like not good advisors." So this is tit for tat really in a way, because after all that happened, there is one more conversation which Prophet Saleh has with those people. Okay? He's basically telling them, I did advise you, but you didn't listen. So what goes round comes round. Okay, the blasters happened and electrocuted them all, so they become twigs. Their houses are still there. What is now going to happen next? Earthquake. Okay, so this time Allah sends a massive earthquake where the ground is already cracked with the electricity bolt, and then everything shakes. Whoosh. Okay.
فأخذتهم الرجفة فأصبحوا في دارهم جاثمين.
Then an overwhelming earthquake struck them and they fell lifeless in their homes. They were already lifeless, and the ones who were died as well, 778. Okay? Who do you think were the first ones who died?
The one that killed camel.
Good, well done. That's an excellent answer. All 9 that killed the camel went first. They got crushed by a massive stone. Okay? And then the rest. And the gods that they were building completely got crushed. Okay? Still they defied him and slaughtered her, so their Lord crushed them for their crime, leveling all to the ground. He has no fear of consequences. This is Allah speaking again.
فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها.
So the punishment overtook them. Surely in this is a sign, yet most of them would not believe.
فأخذهم العذاب إن في ذلك لآية وما كان أكثرهم مؤمنين.
Okay, and all the living creatures in there, their cattle, everything went.
فكيف كان عذابي ونذر.
Then how dreadful were my punishment and warnings. So this is even Allah saying that this is how dreadful it was. So the whole land completely just flattened. Gods went, cattle, everything completely derelict. Not a single soul was left. Okay?
فانظر كيف كان عاقبة مكرهم أنا دمرناهم وقومهم أجمعين.
See then then what the consequences of their plan were. We utterly destroyed them and their people altogether. Okay? So, that is basically the story. Okay? And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did pass that area. Okay? I already said that at the beginning. This is how we know it happened in Hijaz. And Hijaz is right in Saudi Arabia. And this is what happened. Ibn Umar narrated that while Prophet Muhammad was passing by Thamud's houses on his way to the Battle of Tabuk, he stopped together with the people there. The people fetched water from the wells from which the people of Thamud used to drink. They prepared their dough and filled their water skins from the wells. The Prophet ﷺ ordered them to empty the water skins and give the prepared dough to the camels. Then he went away with them till they stopped at the well from which the she-camel used to drink. We warned them against entering upon the people that had been punished, saying, I fear that you may be affected by what afflicted them, so do not enter upon them. That's actually from Hadith Ahmed. Okay? So nobody is allowed to go in that area. However, people have found their homes there. So their homes are there but completely ruined because of their wrongdoing. Surely in this is a lesson for people of knowledge. 2752. Okay? So their homes are there but completely ruined. So those homes have been found recently. Some people think that it's the homes in Petra, in Jordan. That was completely a different nation because we know this from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This actually happened in Arabia, and this prophet was Arabian. Okay? We're going to finish with a poem, and then we're going to look at the morals. Because a lot of people, they think, well, that's just a fairy tale. But we can actually apply that to nowadays, did you know? We can apply that to nowadays, in our lifetime now. And that's what we need to do to learn. Others we're not learning, are we, from that story? Okay? Right, so here's a poem first of all, which you can all join in if you know the words on the ends. Okay? So the Thamud tribe lived in Arabia doing shirk, just like the Ad. They also bowed down to idols, and over time their hearts grew hard. Good. Like the Ad, the giants ruined earlier, they built massive homes, carving them into mountain slides by skillfully cutting stones. Good. Allah chose Saleh from among them, calling to worship Allah alone. The Thamud said Saleh was under a spell, a liar to be left on his own. When things turned wrong, they blamed Saleh for bringing bad luck, saying he may have been a chief if to the old pagan ways he had stuck. The Thamud asked Saleh for a miracle to prove that he was true, for a huge she-camel born from rock with a baby in its belly too. They promised if the miracle worked that Allah they would obey. So Allah split the mountain, creating the she-camel right away. The huge miracle, the she-camel amazed them. Later its baby was born. Whilst the humble ones believed, the proud ones had to be warned. The she-camel shared their water, drinking it every other day. After she drank, they milked her a lot and happily walked away. The she-camel wandered freely in the valleys as she grazed. Saleh warned Thamud not to harm her, but do as Allah says. The disbelievers soon hated the she-camel and the water ban. Thamud's chiefs gathered them together, plotting an evil plan. Agreeing to kill the she-camel, they plotted another evil thing too. They would kill Saleh and his family, saying they didn't have a clue. Good. Evil older Nazar offered her daughter to the killer as a prize. Chief Kidder agreed to kill the she-camel with 88 nasty guys. Good, you're all really listening well. They shot arrows as Khidr stabbed her. Her baby ran off in fear. She died as her crying baby fled to the mountains to disappear. The Thamud cheered their heroes who set off to kill Saleh dead. But Allah sent stones from the sky that crushed all 9 instead. Remember I said they got crushed with a stone? Saleh warned the others of 3 days to enjoy life and repent. He left the Thamud as they dared bring on Allah's punishment. The fools refused Allah's mercy, laughing as Saleh moved away. But their faces turned from yellow to red to black each new day. One morning the earth shook and a noise blasted from the sky. The Thamud died screaming in pain, becoming like twigs all dry. Okay, one called Abu Rigal hid in Allah's sacred area as an escape plot. I forgot about this man. But as soon as he left, a stone from the sky killed him on the spot. That was one man who tried to run away. The Thamud lost their gardens, vines, dates, and houses of rock. Their stone homes, no protection, punished as Allah they mocked. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did not enter Thamud's place but passed them by, warning the area of destruction is cursed. If you go in, you should cry. Okay? Right, so that's the story in a snapshot. Now, what lessons can we learn? Let's see if you know. What lessons can we learn from that story in nowadays life? Yes?
I'd just say like how merciful Allah is. Like obviously in Saleh's story they did something so like brave, but yet Allah was giving them the chance to repent. So here it just shows no matter what sins you do, you just repent.
We should keep repenting. Okay, what is the very first thing that we need to shirk? Number one. It worries me because the audience never ever say this first. The very first moral of this story is don't do shirk. Okay? Shirk means associating partners with Allah, doing any festival that may involve other gods. Okay? So nowadays culture, what kinds of things should we really be wary of?
Christmas, pagans,
Paganism. They were all pagans, all of them. Okay? They were all pagans. They worshipped lots of gods. We're all Muslim. We don't worship lots of gods, though, do we? We only worship Allah. But can we get into paganistic things, though? Yes. Because we live in England, okay? And the whole of everything apart from the 2 Eids has got roots in paganism. Everything, okay? I'm telling you now, everything. Every single thing apart from the 2 Eids has got roots in paganism. So this is the pagan calendar which I put up every single time. And on it, I've added on Mother's Day, because Mother's Day did come. Yes, Mother's Day is worshipping the mother of gods. So people worship not just the gods, but their mothers. Research it yourself, okay? And then later on, when Christianity came to this land, they covered it all up and said, oh, what we'll do is we'll worship our own mothers instead. And we'll start giving them presents. But the roots are paganism. Okay? And yes, there are gods involved with all of these. All of these, there are gods involved. So indirectly you're worshipping other gods. Okay? How can I put this? Some men also get into all of this. I've only seen it actually with very few. To be honest, it's the children who give to the mothers. But some mothers can start saying to husbands, we want something as well. And you're all nodding your head, but that does happen as well. Some people are greedy and they want things off their husbands. And then the husbands get into it as well. Instead of saying, hang on a minute, I'm the leader of the flock, I should be guiding you all. It's a big fat no. It's a pagan festival and we are Muslims. Okay? So I put this on every time, okay, because it is true. We live in England and everything apart from the two Eids is linked with other religions, and the other religions are paganism. So we have to be very, very careful, because the only thing which Allah will not forgive is shirk. We know that. Everything else Allah will forgive. Okay? So those are most of them, but I have added another one on with the baby showers. Put Valentine's Day, because Valentine's Day went as well recently. Valentine's, we've done the whole lecture, go on my YouTube channel, it involves another god. Okay? And then they plonked St. Valentine on the god to make it look it was a saint, but it's still shirk. Okay?
So why does baby showers come under?
Baby showers is big time paganism. So basically you need to watch my lecture on, pagan festivals. And baby showers is, what they do is they believe that a bad omen will go on the baby. Yeah, like Sleeping Beauty is a pagan story. And then they will do things so that the baby will stay okay, so they'll give good luck presents before the baby's born to the mother. So when the mother's baby's born, it's not, what do you call it? Cursed. Yeah? And loud noises. I mean, there's something out, you burst a balloon and the pink powder comes out and it means it's a girl. Have you seen that in there?
Yeah.
I've seen that in shops. And you burst the balloon and a blue powder comes out and it means it's a boy. I'm sorry, that's shirk. It is. Because that is to do with the Big Bang gets rid of the evil spirits, and if the balloon is pink, it's a boy, but actually where does Allah come into all of this? Okay? But I can do a separate lecture on that if you want me to, but I have done it before many, many times. Okay? But all I'm saying is be careful. This Easter business now that's coming up is from the goddess Easter. Her name's Easter. It's a goddess who comes and brings all the spring bunnies and the flowers and stuff. If you pray to her, what do you think maypole dancing is? Praying around, naked around the maypole in a clockwise direction. It's all paganism, believe me. Think of Hinduism. Do they not dance around their god clockwise? Garba? Yes? Ever heard of Garba? Well, I have, because I've been to one as a teenager. I will not deny it. I used to do all of this. But Allah has, alhamdulillah, made me see the light. And once you know, yes, you will be judged. Once you know. Okay, if you didn't know, that's fine. But now you know, you will be judged. And it's up to you, really. Because the others aren't going to save you. You have to save yourself. Okay? Right, what's the next moral? Enough about paganism. I go on and on about every time. But that is the first moral. Believe me, that's the first moral. Why did they get destroyed? They were worshipping other gods. Okay? Right, what's the next moral?
Yeah, nature they killed a camel and there's creation.
Okay, but there's better ones than that. Much better ones than that. What about the big tall buildings? Were they being arrogant?
They were arrogant, yeah.
Big time.
Being humble.
Big time. Do we see this nowadays? Yes. Gosh. Oh, I've got swimming pool in my house. And they only mix with people who've got swimming pools in their houses. And they're not mixed with anybody else. You see, there's a class division, is there not? Okay? So, it does tell you that our will not be established until the people compete with one another in constructing tall buildings. Okay? Money. Did they have the love of money? Big time. They were greedy. Okay? The Prophet Muhammad said, if a man had a value of gold, he would desire another, for nothing will fill his mouth but the dirt of his grave, and Allah forgives whoever sincerely repents. Okay? The more money you've got, the more likely you are to get into bad. Why? What did we say? Why did they turn to idol worship?
Arrogance.
No? Why did they turn to idol worship?
War, maybe.
They had everything.
Yeah.
If you got £1 million, you've got everything, haven't you? You've got a house, you've got your mortgage paid, You've got gold, you've got food. Why do you need Allah then? So it makes you arrogant, doesn't it? We don't need Allah, we've got everything. What do we need to pray to Him for? Okay? So, wealth and property, the hour will not come until there'll be so much wealth that people won't know who to give zakat to. Okay? And this world is nothing but a test. Who lives in this dunya just for the dunya and not thinking of the hereafter? What are dunya type things? So you only live once. False. You live every day, you only die once. What are dunya type things? Clothes. Let's slow down here. Clothes, shopping, jewelry, gold. Where's that all going to go? Is it going to go with you? No. And you will be tested. Allah will ask you. All this stuff you keep buying and hoarding with, it's going to stay in the dunya. That's a dunya type thing. Okay? What's the hereafter stuff? You being here is the hereafter. You learn about the deen. Yes? That's the hereafter. Allah's going to say, I'm happy with you. You were fasting and you went to Sipa's lecture. All the way from Ipswich. Yeah? Okay? What else is hereafter things? Because some people do need to have it clarified, maybe. What other things? Fasting is for the hereafter. Charity. Everything to do with Allah only. Okay? But eating out, theatre shows, shopping, etc., etc., that's not for Allah, is it? That's for us. Yes? Does that clarify what is for Allah? Is what we will take up to the hereafter. Learning about the deen, learning the Quran, etc., etc. Okay? And the earthquake that happened, I'm going to put a video up now. You can all look at the screen now, and this shows an earthquake, and that earthquake that happened should remind us of what is to come. Okay?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to another episode of the Noble Quran Summary Series. Today we'll be discussing Surah Al-Zalzala. Surah Al-Zalzala is a Madani surah. It is composed of 8 verses and is surah number 99 according to the arrangement of the Mus'haf. This surah discusses Yawm al-Qiyamah and how mankind shall witness the consequences of their deeds. Its subject matter is a second life after death and the record of the deeds done by mankind in this world. In the first 3 verses, it has been told briefly how the second life after death will take place and how confounding it will be for mankind. In the next 2 sentences, it talks about how mankind have done their deeds thoughtlessly. Then it talks about how mankind will be raised from their graves and be shown their deeds. These noble verses teach us many lessons, including the following. Number 1. One of the indications of the resurrection will be a tremendous earthquake. Number 2. On the day of resurrection, the earth will throw out all that is stored up in its interior of precious metals and human beings. Number 3. On the day of resurrection, mankind will be brought back to life and be taken to account. And finally, number 4. On the day of resurrection, the earth will relate the events and doings of the children of Adam over it.
Basically, that story should help you reflect on that, really. because an earthquake can happen at any time. We just had one in Turkey, didn't we? Really big one. And then another one happened, didn't it? So at any time, we actually live on an island, we could come across an earthquake. So we should be ready basically all the time. And that video actually would give you visions really of a little bit of the earthquake that would have happened with Prophet Saleh's crowds. Okay? Right. The other one is don't be arrogant. Wherever Allah gives us our money. It's not, even if it's, some people say, oh, we did that with our own hands. We, earned all that money with our own hands. But who gave you those hands? Who gave you the health? Okay? When people ask me, oh, you've got so much knowledge, and where do you get all that energy from? You're always on the go, you're always on the go, you're always on the go. Where does it come from? All from Allah. Honestly, some knowledge, I don't even know how on earth did I know that? I know Allah's put that in there. And I'm grateful, and then Allah makes me do even more for my sins. Okay? So whatever you've got, be always grateful to Allah. Never say, oh, we did this ourselves, which is exactly what Thamud did. They said, oh, we did it all ourselves. We carved those mountains. They didn't need Allah. Okay? So here is the ayah for this.
ولا تمش في الأرض مرحا إنك لن تخرق الأرض ولن تبلغ الجبال طولا.
And do not walk upon the earth proudly. You will never tear the earth apart, and you will never reach the mountains in height. Okay? The other one, which I think is very important, and I do come across this, learn from other people's mistakes. Okay, so you know when you look at Thamud, they didn't look at Hud's Qawm's mistakes, Ad's, did they? They just repeated them. So learn from other people. Learn. What are you looking at around you? You know. And the other one, actually, I come across this a lot, is listen to pious people who know about the religion. Now, some people, they will ask me a question, and I will answer it really lovely, and then they'll go and ask their mom. Oh, but their mom said this, because their mom gives them the answer they want. Okay? So I just think that's really bad. Personally, I find discredited as a woman. I think, well, maybe she or he did that because I'm a woman. And why are you checking? If you asked me, you should trust me. So listen to pious people. They didn't listen to Thamud, did they? Okay? Okay, so this is what I used, and this, Stories of the Prophets, and I have got that actually on PDF. If anybody wants it, I can WhatsApp it to you as well. And this is my YouTube channel, which you all know about. And my medal is going to go out to, let's have a drum roll, everybody. Rather than on this. He answered a lot of questions today.
Well done.
Well done. He did really well, actually. From the beginning, from the very first question, he knew quite a lot of questions. So well done.
Thank you.
Right, let's open the floor now to questions and answers. Anything you like, you can ask me about what we've covered today.
When the earthquake was sent by Allah to
Yes.
Tamil's people,
Yes.
remember I asked you a question once, and you said on the day of judgment, I think it was in the debate from the laws of physics will collapse, and
That's
when the
right.
second trumpet will be blown.
Yes.
So when the earthquake, just hypothetically, when Allah sent the earthquake, does that basically mean that the laws of physics, in whichever way he did it? I mean, the laws
With Thamud.
Yeah.
Okay, what happened with Thamud was, I explained it in there, the thunderbolt came, electrocuted everyone, and they collapsed in their houses like this. But that thunderbolt was so strong, it put a crack in the earth. Okay? When that crack in the earth happened, that's when it started colliding with each other. Just like that crack I put up. Let me just show you the picture quickly. Okay, so when that thunderbolt happened, there was actually a crack happened in the earth, which split the earth. Okay? And then the two bits of land then collided with each other, so it shook and shook till all the houses then fell flat. Okay? That's how it happened. The law of physics will happen is yet to come, like what you saw in that video, that earthquake. Okay? But don't forget, Allah can do what He wants. He will just say, be and it will happen. It's up to Allah. However, whichever way He did it. Okay? Right, anybody else? Yes?
Why did the people want the camel? Because they tested the Prophet Saleh and said, we want a camel, turn that rock into a camel. What was the significance of the camel? Is there any
Because they thought he ain't going to be able to do that. They made it really difficult for him. 10 meters long, 10 months pregnant, and a she-camel, and out of that rock, they took a mockery out of him. Thought he ain't going to be do that. If you're a prophet, show us if you can do this. Yeah? So then they thought it wasn't going to happen, but it did, because Allah did it. Yeah? They tried to prove him wrong, basically. They tried to prove he was a liar. Okay? That's why that happened. Yes?
All the qualities that Allah gave to the people of Ard, people of Salah basically, did they earn that basically or something, or were they related to?
They were related, yes. So the Thamud were related to Ard. They were 4 generations down. So they had the genetics of Ard still in them, the big, strong bulkiness, the muscles, the tallness. Do you understand? Because remember we did the chart and 4 generations down and then Thamud came after Ard. Okay, it's like you and your great-granddad, yeah, which is your forefather. Your forefather is your great-granddad, isn't it? He'll have some genetics which you've got, won't he? It's like that. But they never learnt. Okay? Say your great-granddad, this is just an example only, say your great-granddad died in, I don't know, in the sea, drowned. Yeah? When you go in the sea, you'd be double careful, wouldn't you? Because you know your great-granddad died in the sea, so you'd learn to swim. Yeah? And you do your dua before you go in and things like that. It's like that. You have to learn. This is what I meant. Learn from other people's mistakes. Watch what's going on. And then learn from that. Don't have a blind eye and things like that.
Can I ask another question?
Yes, because nobody else is going to put their hand up, so yes.
Right. When you said when Prophet Muhammad was passing the land,
Prophet Muhammad was what?
When Prophet Muhammad was passing, where they existed, okay? When you basically said to look away from the mountain, not to look at it.
Yeah, don't go in there.
So
and also he said to put the dough, give the dough that you're baking to the camels, didn't he? And throw the water away that you got out of that well.
So if anyone went in there, would they be turned to stone, reduced to ashes or something, or struck down by Allah, or what would happen?
See, the problem is we don't know the exact area now, so we wouldn't know. But that area is all derelict anyway now, completely derelict. If you look at Arabia, most of it is sand, isn't it? Desert. So we wouldn't know, but I'll tell you an example, very big one. When we cover Prophet Lot's story, we're not allowed to go in the Dead Sea either. We're not allowed to go in the Dead Sea. It tells you clearly in the Quran. The Dead Sea is where all the dead bodies went and all the acid is in the sea. And even now when you go in, all your skin comes off and it's really horrible. You float in it. It's not normal, that water. It's really salty and nothing grows in Jordan at all. But when we cover Prophet Lot's story, which is coming up actually after the next one, then we will see. By the way, do you think after all this happened, it's time for a messenger to come again?
Yes.
Yes, because Noah came last time. It's time for another messenger. Does anybody know who the next messenger is? No. You are going way forward in time. We haven't even covered like Judaism yet. Ibrahim a.s. is next. He's the next story. Okay, he will be the next story. He's the next major messenger. There's 5 altogether.
Did he live for 800 years or 80 years?
I'm not going to tell you. You have to wait till next month. Okay, any more questions before we finish off?
Yes.
Yes? You had a question earlier, that's what I'm looking at.
Yes. You mentioned about the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yes.
Do they still exist, or who's hiding them, or who's put them in a museum, or what's the situation?
You can buy them on Amazon.
No, but they're not real, are they?
You get translations of them. There's about 700 plus Dead Sea Scrolls. About 200, let's say over 200 are related to what's under them today. But they don't watch it.
But they're not the real ones, are they?
The Dead Sea Scrolls is 700 scrolls plus that they've found. And they're,
I mean, the video I saw, they were putting piece by piece together.
yeah, they're fragmented.
Yeah, completely fragmented, and there's pieces of information missing. To be honest with you, if the Dead Sea Scrolls was the complete message, then why did the Quran come down? Even the Dead Sea Scrolls are not the original text.
No.
So things were taken out and put in as well. That's why Allah sent the Quran, which is the full updated message, isn't it? We have to think about it. Others, why did Allah send the Quran, the final edition, the final manual?
The prophets yet had to come. You're saying after this, Prophet Ibrahim and Islam come, then you've got the other prophets still to come.
The prophets only come in a new book is to be revealed. So Ibrahim and Islam actually brought the Salafa. We will talk about that next time. But the big messengers always bring a book for the rules to be updated and refreshed from the people from before. Okay? So that's when a messenger comes. Or when the world is completely corrupted, like in Noah's time, Allah had to make a brand new world, didn't he? And he completely flooded the whole planet. Okay? Yes?
The bad man was called Khidr, the one who led the assault on the camel. And his name is very similar to the pious man called Hidr. So
Yes.
these two names are very similar, right?
Yeah, but it's not the same. It's not the
So
same.
it's Khidr and Khidr.
Yes, that was Al-Khidr.
Al-Khidr.
Al-Khidr, which is completely different.
Right.
Yes. Al-Khidr came in Moses' time as well. Yeah. Don't forget they're all Arab names, so this nation was Arab, so you will find, just in case one of your grandchildren are called Khidr, you know, they're all Arab names. That can be anybody. You can have evil people named that as well, can't you? And you can have good people named that, so, yeah. Okay, I think we'll stop now. So you want to finish off?
Thank you very much for the lecture. I particularly found the timeline of the prophets, how they came, Adam, and then Idris, then Noah, Hud, and Saleh. So it's building a nice story, step by step. And also very interesting, the stories, the way they are put together, and they flow really well. That's fascinating. And the poem was very interesting. And the whole lecture was very fun and interesting and enjoyable. And some parts a little bit scary. So I'd like to stop there. And the next lecture will be here. The story of Ibrahim will be explained on the Saturday, 13th of May at 2:30 right here. And I'd like to thank Sister Sidra for her effort and for me to just sit back and enjoy.
Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. I have got some leaflets here, if anybody wants to take some away.